Howdy folks, and welcome to another Taste of Gameplay video, this time for the American Tier 3 Premium Cruiser, the Charleston. As always, these videos are designed to give you a sample of the gameplay of the ship, not to be an exhaustive analysis. I recommend the Wargaming Wiki or other content creators. So, as a guy making videos on YouTube, I sometimes have a little bit of a dilemma here because the point of this series is to show you what these ships are like. Kind of a little bit reference work, if you will, but also I want these videos to be entertaining. And so the problem is, for some of these low tier ships, I just am like this is my second game in the Charleston, and I just was like, you know what, this is it. This is the Charleston. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna sail around the map, just machine shotgunning shells at random bots and players and hoping you hit something. The internet tells me that these are brawling cruisers. Basically, the Charleston is the premium version of the St. Louis, which I also don't play. I see a lot of St. Louis in players' hands in low tier games and also in bots, and it's always very tanky. The armor in the bow and the stern is laughably bad. It's 6mm, but it does have a ton of hit points and it can soak up a lot of damage, and it has a boatload of secondaries. So I guess that's the advantage the ship has. It's slow, it's stubby. I gotta say, I really miss torpedoes. I think some tier 3 cruisers have torpedoes, and of course destroyers at this tier have torpedoes, and I really miss torpedoes because I just feel like they move things along. Like, I don't really want to sit 2 kilometers from a bot cruiser and just like feed AP shells and overpen him over and over again. And yes, I probably should be switching to the HE here. I was trying to think about how to make this video interesting, and I guess one thing worth talking about is these casemate gun layouts that you don't see at the higher tiers but are more historically accurate. I don't know that I necessarily find them fun, but I think they're interesting, and I think it'd be really weird and cool. I guess the Barbiano is kind of a little bit like this. Maybe that's a ship that represents this at tier 10, but this idea of having like an incredible number of guns. I mean, look at that display in the lower left-hand corner, right, with the 14 guns. But of course, you can only get a maximum of, what is it, 8 on target at any one time, and that's only if you are absolutely 90-degree broadside. I was looking at ShipTool, which, again, I've talked about ShipTool a lot. ShipTool.st, cannot recommend it highly enough. And it lets you do things like mouse over the individual guns in the ship and check out a graphical representation of their firing angles, and you'll quickly start to understand why it's so hard to use the Charleston. I mean, I'm not even at all that steep of an angle to this guy, and I'm getting, what, like 4 guns? I mean, I have to turn, yeah, really just absolutely flat broadside. And unlike some other cruisers, you can't deploy the overpen tech. That's what we call it sometimes when you just are counting on overpens from high caliber guns, because there's actually too much armor on this ship. So yeah, I mean, I know some people really like to play the Charleston. Again, as with all these ships that are not really my favorites, that doesn't mean you can't like them. This just isn't my jam, I guess. Especially not at these lower tiers. But I mean, the Charleston, I mean, you get to fire a lot of guns. The reload is kind of bad. It's 9 seconds. Honestly, and I guess this is kind of a philosophical thing, my favorite cruiser at tier 3 is the Katori, and it's the opposite of this philosophically. It does have torpedoes. It's really slow, and the reload is not great, and it doesn't have very many guns, but what it has is incredible accuracy. So every gun you fire is going to go exactly where you told it to, and I honestly just prefer that. This Charleston feels like, I don't know, it feels like the shotgun in Quake or something. It's like you just click somewhere near the enemy ship and a bunch of shells go in a kind of random direction and you hit some of them. And it's very RNG. I mean, I guess it's not that RNG because you're firing so many shells that you can just rely on like the law of averages. I wanted to demonstrate how many hit points this ship had. That's my excuse for why I'm taking all these torpedoes. But it is nice to have a lot of hit points if you're going to take a bunch of torpedoes. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, this is the thing you got to watch out for with bots. They'll never destroy you with their guns, but they're kind of vicious with those torpedoes. Anyway, yeah, I mean, when I play tier 3, I don't play cruiser a lot, but when I do, I play the Katori. I prefer destroyers, especially the German line. I really like the Koenig Albert and a few of the other battleships. This is not my speed, but I get that some people really like it. I mean, the DPM is high. It always just feels really, the gameplay feels really slow. I don't know why that is. I mean, in certain situations, you're doing a ton of damage. I mean, I'm already up to 64k damage. It's worth mentioning again, because that's going to happen in this game. This game is actually going to be over quicker than you think it is. And I'm just going to put it out there because I feel like it's instructive for anybody who might be watching this who's new to the game. You have to defend your base. You have to. The bots are all going to go into your base. And if you don't sit in the base, or at the very least constantly shoot and destroy ships that go into it, preferably both, then there's a really very real risk that you're just going to lose because they're going to cap your base, especially in these standard games, which is usually what you get at these lower tiers. Anyway, this is not about how to play tier 3. This is about the Charleston. It's big. It's kind of slow. It has a lot of hit points. It has an absolute crap ton of guns in these casemate arrangements where you can fire approximately 8 of them. If you're flat broadside, you really need to just get super close to people because the dispersion's not that great. It also has a ton of secondaries, but they only go to 3.2 kilometers, and they're not very accurate at all. But, you know, you got a lot of guns. I guess in some ways it's a little like a cruiser version of the Mikasa, and I enjoy the Mikasa, so you think maybe I would enjoy this? I'm trying to think of, like, I mean, with the Mikasa, you know, it's just all about getting in secondary range, and they at least go to 3.8, which I realize is not that different. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the Charleston. Hopefully this at least gave you a taste for it. You can decide if you want to... Why do people buy the Charleston? I hear they buy the Charleston because, as with all premium ships, you can move captains around. So if you want to play the St. Louis, if you like the St. Louis, but you want a premium St. Louis, then the Charleston is for you. Otherwise, honestly, you can probably take a pass on this one. So anyway, that's all for this one, and I will see you guys in the next video.